this video, I'm going to show you how to multiply a whole number times a fraction without having to draw a model every time. So I just want us to start by thinking about just this. How would I write this as a fraction? Yes, it's one whole, but if I wanted to write it as a fraction, how would I do that? Well, I know the denominator of a fraction tells me how many pieces are in one whole. Well, there's only one piece in this whole, so I'm going to put 1 as my denominator. And how much of it is shaded? Well, one piece. So I know that 1 over 1 is equivalent to 1 whole. But let's say our model looks like this. How would we write this number as a fraction? Well, we know it's 2 wholes, but how would we write it as a fraction? Well, let's think about what our denominator means. Our denominator is how many pieces are in one whole. And in one whole, there's only one piece. But I have how many shaded? I have 2 of those wholes shaded. So 2 over 1 is equivalent to 2. So what connection are you starting to make? So what about this? Okay, so I'm going to think about this one a little bit differently. So we have how many shaded? We have 4 shaded, but how many pieces are in one whole? Just 1. So 4 over 1 is equivalent to 4. So this is why you can write any whole number as a fraction if you put it over 1 or with 1 as the denominator, because there's just one piece in each whole. So that's really going to help you when you're multiplying fractions by whole numbers. So let's go ahead and get started with an example. So for our first problem, we're going to multiply 3/8 times 6. Okay. So we just said that we can write any whole number as a fraction over 1. So I can rewrite this as 3/8 times 6 over 1 because there's one piece in each whole and there are 6 wholes. Okay, and so now it's very simple. We just multiply across. So we're going to multiply 3 times 6 to get our numerator and 8 times 1 to get our denominator. So 3 times 6 is 18, and our denominator is 8. So 3/8 times 6 is 18/8, which we know we need to simplify that. 8 times what is going to get me closest to 18? 8 times 2 with 2 left over. Okay, so I know there's a number that will go into 2 and 8. And of course, that's 2. So we're going to divide 2/8 divided by 2 over 2 to get an equivalent fraction. That's a little bit simpler. And that's going to simplify to 1/4. So our answer is 2 1/4 or 2 2/8. Both are correct. So that is how you multiply a fraction by a whole number. So we'll do one more. And of course, we could have written this as 6 times 3/8 or 3/8 times 6 because of that commutative property of multiplication. All right, so now we're going to do 7 times 4/5. And I just want us to think about this for a second. So 4/5 is less than 1 whole, right? 7 times 1 whole is 7. But if we're multiplying 7 by a number that's less than 1 whole, our product has to be less than 7. So it's really good to just think about that before you start going so you can kind of check your reasonableness as you go. So now we're just going to write 7 wholes as a fraction. 7 over 1 times 4/5. And again, we can multiply numerator, denominator. 7 times 4 is 28. And our denominator is 5. Of course, 5 times what gets us closest to 28? 5 times 5 is 25 with 3/5 left over. So our product is 5 3/5. So that's how you multiply a whole number times a fraction without having to draw a model.